Good evening, I hope everyone's well today. Thank you for watching, it is appreciated. If you find value in this video, consider liking and subscribing, it does help out the channel a lot. There's been a lot of talk and speculation over the past few days about Ben Habib and Rupert Lowe potentially coming together to merge or form a new political party. Most people on my channel think it is going to happen in one way or another, and that can only be a good thing in my view. I am a Reform voter, and I am a Restore Britain member, and I'm also a Reform UK member currently. Cards on the table, full disclosure. The issue I've got is people over-egging things. We're years probably away from the next election, and there's a lot of time to make decisions on what you're going to do. People are just jostling for position. I mean, the politicians, not necessarily commentators online. So it doesn't necessarily bother me, the drama. It's just people trying to make mountains out of molehills. All of this is great, and all of this is good for our side being the right-leaning people. The first thing I want to get into is we've had another defection from the Tories, and this happened yesterday, I believe. We've got Andrew Rosendale, MP. Now, he's actually in a safe Tory seat. He's not in a marginal Tory seat, so he would have likely have retained his seat at the next general election, regardless of whether he was in Tory or Reform. So it's interesting who's coming over, and he's actually one of the dry MPs. He's very fiscally conservative, voted for Brexit, so he's on the right side of things, generally speaking. But then you have Robert Jamrick, and as I've mentioned in previous videos, he's a bit of a snake. I don't think he's genuine, and I don't think he's got a high profile because he's saying the right things currently. But I don't trust him as far as I could throw him. Now, Rupert Lowe took umbrage with him defecting to Reform UK, and I want to read a bit from his tweet that he put out the other day. One message has been reinforced today. This was from 4 or 5 days ago. One message has been reinforced today, that in the most spectacular fashion, Westminster is a vile snake pit, infested with those who have put their own personal interest above that of the country. They are an exceedingly small handful of patriots, but that number is vastly outnumbered by those who have put their priorities in the following order: self, party, country. I pretty much agree with that. Party politics has failed. It's failed all of us. It's failed Great Yarmouth, it's failed England, it's failed Britain, our dad has failed this United Kingdom. It's a circus, it's a pantomime, it's a show, with no care for what's really being inflicted on the decent tax-paying men and women. They all treat it as if it's a sport. It's not. It's our country, it's our home, it's our people. Our solution, a reform dictatorship that is packing its ranks with the very people that decimated the country for 14 years? I think not. Nadine Dorries, Jake Barry, Lee Anderson, Nadeem Sahari. Really? Are these people going to turn the country around? If a Labour defector is on the way too, I mean, really? Doesn't put us punches, and that's only half of the tweet, but you pretty much get the gist. Reform can't be trusted. The stuff in their apps full of Conservatives. We need real change. There is a few caveats I'll make to that, and the caveat is I've agreed that the parliamentary system of representative democracy is outdated. It was all well and good when we didn't have the internet. It was all well and good when people weren't able to travel all around the country. It was all well and good when only a few people had a horse and cart and could actually get down to Parliament. None of that is true anymore. In fact, I would be comfortable with a direct democracy. I would be very much in favour of a direct democracy, people-led, grassroots up, direct, you vote on matters, and I guess put through Parliament by the people. That would be my ideal. We're not there now. We need to work in the system we've got, not the one we would imagine we want it to be. For my sins, I'm in a Reform UK seat, Sarah Pochin. She's vastly, vastly superior to any Labour MP we've had in 50 years. And this is what my focus has and will be on for the time being. Making sure that anybody who's in a safe Labour or Conservative or Lib Dem seat is unseated. We need to clean house. My hope with Restore Britain, my hope with Advance UK, is that if we do merge, they can form a beachhead in Parliament, like Reform UK did in this Parliament. I think Reform UK have got it. They're the next government. There's no way around that. However, I'm going to play a clip in a moment or so, and this is Rupert Lowe, the best MP in Parliament. We've got no issue there. He is the best MP in Parliament, trying to hold the civil service to account. And this is very, very important. So watch this clip now.
I use my parliamentary office to ask questions of the Home Office on these issues. On virtually every occasion I get, the Home Office does not hold the information sought in these questions at the level of granularity requested.
So to put it another way, the Home Office is giving contracts to these private companies to house illegal migrants. They have no idea how the money is being spent because they don't actually monitor it in any specific detail. Now, as somebody who's data-driven and data-led like I am, I can look at this and I can think this is deeply, deeply concerning. We went through this with the expenses scandal over a decade ago. If the public management of public money is so shoddy, how can we ever hold the people elected accountable? Because we've got no detail. The left hand, as Rupert Lowe says later in the video, doesn't know what the right hand is doing. Also, coin a more colourful phrase. They don't know their arse from their elbow.
And that's for information packs, recreational activities provided, cleaning services, franchising and furnishing and decorating, antisocial behaviour. A whole raft of questions that I ask, I get that answer. So that worries me. If you haven't got the granularity of data, you won't be able to manage the situation. And that particularly pertains to the subcontractor or contractor contracts that you've got with people like Serco, MEAs and other national providers who are providing asylum services to you. Basically, I've been to see the Minister. I have asked many parliamentary questions. I've drilled down. I find that there are contracts where hotel rooms have been fully paid for, i.e. the entire hotel's been taken, yet it's half full.
And why are they in a hotel to begin with? Any illegal migrant should be deported. They broke into the country, not my problem. However, why they put up in 4 or 5 star hotels, and as Rupert rightly identifies here, what happens is the government or the contract providers to government will rent out all of these locations and then not use them to the full capacity. So that's a waste of money. Now, somebody who is working class from a working class background that is familiar with living hand to mouth occasionally, you need to know where every single penny is going and how you account for that. The situation is when the government uses the phrase taxpayer funded money, they use that as license to ask us all for more money. But the incompetence of governments is the major issue.
I think there's a lack of knowledge and understanding of these complex contracts, both within the ministerial departments and also within your department. So, from the point of view of the taxpayer, if the private sector is indulging in very complex contracts which you're signing that aren't fit for purpose, then taxpayer money is going to be wasted massively. So again, I'd like to know, can we have complete transparency of what's in these contracts? When I ask the questions, I get that's a redacted version. Okay.
This is the key thing. If Restore Britain or Advance UK, if they do and replicate what Reform did at the last election and get 5 or 6 MPs, and they are holding Reform ministers to account, and they are still getting these redacted documents with all the actual detail that we need is withheld, then we'll know specifically what Reform are going to be. But we don't know that until they're tested, is the point I'm making. So if you get people in Parliament asking these questions and they get rebuffed by the uni party, like this, with the civil servants just redacting huge swaths of information, if that happens in the next government, then we need people to hold Reform UK accountable for that. So this is exactly what I'm referring to.
So I think we've got the message. It's very important that we've got transparency on this if we are to get to the bottom of it. I don't think we have transparency. And I think we haven't got transparency because very often the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing.
There have been significant challenges with how the accommodation.
Just be honest. When you say significant challenge, you mean the system is broken. We don't want to fix it because if we have to fix it, we have to admit we've got something wrong. And you don't want to be held accountable. Be honest about that. Your arse is on the line and you don't want to be fired. Anyway, we'll leave this one here. The biggest mistake that Nigel Farage made was standing down the Brexit Party at the 2019 general election to give the Tories a clean run. They had no fear. The Tories had no fear. A controlled amount of fear, even a lot of fear for politicians for their political careers, is a good thing. If Reform UK, as the Brexit Party, had a beachhead in Parliament in the 2019 Parliament, like what they achieved in Reform UK in 2024, we wouldn't be 5 years behind schedule. That's my point. If Restore Britain or Advance, if they get a beachhead, they can hold Reform UK to account. I do not think that either Advance or Restore, even if they come together, even if they fill the rafters with brilliant and great people, would get an overall majority. They may even get more than a few MPs, and again, I'm all for that. I'm all for shifting that over to window to where we want and where we need it to be. My hope with Reform UK was that it was actually going to be a genuine grassroots movement, and that was the feeling and the idea why a lot of people joined Reform UK before the last general election. A lot of people are getting increasingly disappointed and disillusioned with reform, and it's happening too quickly. All that being said, I hope I've been fair and balanced. My hope is still that Farage will work with Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain with all of the data that they compile and all of the data that they bring together to actually make the change that people want and need in the next Parliament, because we're not getting two-tier here again. We're not getting a Labour government, hopefully, ever again. The Tories are dead in the water, so where are we going to go from here? These are my thoughts on what's currently going on. I think that Reform need that accountability check. They need people holding their feet to the fire. So anybody on the right doing that can only be a good thing. These are just my thoughts on what's happening with Advance, Restore and Reform UK. As always, your mileage may vary. Do you agree? Do you think Jamrick is a snake? Do you think he can be trusted? Do you trust Farage? Do you still have faith in Reform? Do you think that Rupert Lowe and Ben Habib's new outfit is the way to go? There is no right or wrong answer here. I want a full and open discourse. All ideas are on the table. Remember, it's between us and our country. The politicians just happen to be the thing in the way. Now, if you like this video, like and subscribe. Have a good evening, and I'll see you in the next video.